Thank you, everybody, for joining us this afternoon. Shall we go get started? Our wonderful board member is here. Aruni?
Hi. Hi. Wonderful evening to you, to everyone who has joined. Hope you all are doing well.
It's quite early in the morning for Aruni. It's about
Correct.
7:30 in the morning. So thank you for joining us. So
Okay.
welcome, everybody. This is the second session of the SLSLM Hangout, the exclusive member hangout sessions for our valued members of the Sri Lankan Society of Lifestyle Medicine. So last week we spoke all about intermittent fasting, the tips and the controversies and all the questions we had. And today we have an equally interesting topic. We're going to talk about our gut. We're going to talk about trusting our gut and all about this hot topic in medicine today, that is the gut microbiome. And what we're going to go about it is that we'll be having a conversation with Aruni. She's a friend, and she's also one of the board members of the Sri Lankan Society of Lifestyle Medicine. She is a consultant clinician, consultant nutrition physician, and she's currently in the US undergoing training at Rochester Regional Health Hospital, where she has accumulated a wealth of knowledge, and she keeps on sharing them with us. And we're so lucky to have her with us today. So let's dive in. Aruni, can you tell us, there's this big buzz going on in the medical world about the gut microbiome. So what is this really about?
All right. Gut microbiome, I believe, as a nutrition physician and a person who is in lifestyle medicine, I have a kind of different perspective of the gut microbiome. I believe it is the most wonderful ecosystem I have ever seen. They help each other, they help our health, and it is a part of our ecosystem. I would say, if I say what is the ecosystem is our body. Our body has different parts of this ecosystem, different departments. So these different departments, maybe gut is one, respiratory system is one, skin is one, and all the other organ systems are different departments. So gut is one department of this ecosystem. It's like a national park. So it's so many beings are living there. That's small microbial beings. So this is a part of that ecosystem which helps each other to live in harmony, happy, and good health to provide to the human being. So I would think it has the best ecosystem ever developed, which we are trying to achieve as human beings in the world.
Oh, that's so interesting. Gut, you see gut as a national park. Okay, I've never heard of it.
It is actually. You will see, you should not see it as a kind of organ, or it is something that digest your food. It has marvelous other functions beyond what you think. So microbes are living there, these wonderful creatures. I have changed my perspectives about bacteria and virus once I learned this about the gut microbiome.
Wonderful. And you say that there are these microbes who are in the gut, and that they're doing a fantastic job, and they're helping us in numerous ways. So what are the ways in which we benefit from a healthy gut microbiome?
Right. So there are many ways. They actually, if you should ask me what are the work that they don't do, then it would be an easier question for me, because they help us with each and everything that we do. even now you are talking to me, you think about your question, and I try to answer that question. Our brains are working, our gut is working, we are getting ATP circulated and ATP provided for all our energy. Everything is related to this gut microbiome. Basically, we are living because of them. I would say that.
Okay.
The answer for your question, they help for each and every function in the body.
Okay, and I read somewhere that there are more neurons in the gut than the brain itself, and that it's called the second brain. So, what is that about?
Correct. So that means you consistently have a gut-brain crosstalk where your whatever the neuronal mechanisms that happens inside your brain has a kind of control through the gut neurons, because gut is connected through neuronal, hormonal, and many ways to the brain. So these are not happening in isolation. It happen with each and other's based on each and other's function. So that means this is a very important organ system, the gut, where you have to have the kind of favorable environment for these wonderful creatures to live, because they are continuously talking to your brain. The mood that you get, the happiness, sadness, wonderful ideas you get, everything depends on your gut microbiome, I would say. Yes.
Okay, so you said there are neuronal pathways, hormonal pathways. Can you talk to us a little bit more about those?
I really want everyone to change their perspective of their gut microbiome, because they are not simply the bacteria and virus they are living there. They are our helpers. They are our friends, I would say.
Okay, so can't wait to learn more about our friends in our gut.
I know. So I believe every one of us has our body systems consistently functioning. So we should be remembered that we have number of trillions and billions of microbes everywhere, starting from skin, starting from where not, everywhere they are. And they are helping us. They are helping us to digest, to be resistant to the environment, to be saved from the diseases, and for the most of the time for our best performance.
Is there a role in immunity also?
Correct. So this gut-brain conversation happens in 4 ways: neuronal, hormonal, through the microbiome, micrometabolites, and microbial related short chain fatty acids, serotonin, and the things that they do secrete. So they each are a part of this crosstalk. So this is why we should be taken care of our gut microbiome than what we thought of. So it's like you taking care of maybe your child, maybe more than that, because you can't take care of your child if you are not well. So you have to take care of your gut microbiome as you look after your child, or maybe more than that.
Okay. So you sent me a bit of a heavy presentation. It's loading quite slowly, so
Oh, is it?
that's okay.
Sorry.
No worries. Till we can get that up and running. So, what are the ways that we can start to improve our gut health?
Of course, that you have to, as I correctly said, that you have to feed them. You have to just, for their health, you have to look after them. First thing, you have to feed them. Then you should not harm them. So if you feed them and if you don't harm them by this, just exposing them for the toxins and pollutants and whatever the harmful substances. So this would happen. That is the way. And you should not have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4 and a lot how to look after them. It's simple and easy. You should not harm. You should feed. You should feed with what they can live upon. If you just eat your burger and your meats and whatever your kind of processed food, they will die. So they are wonderful, friendly creatures who will not survive on bad food, but on your fruits and vegetables. If you are not eating fruits and vegetables and your fibers are not being delivered, so that means they have no food to digest because your little friends are living on fibers which is provided with fruits and vegetables. So if you are not eating enough of them, so how can they eat? They will not be dependent on what you eat, the processed food, salty food, and whatever comes in the package. So whatever comes in the package will kill your little fellows ultimately with the results of your ill health, and finally it will indirectly kill you.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that reminds me of the saying that what we eat can be the most wonderful medicine that we put into our body. Also, it can
Yeah,
be the worst, slowest killing poison, isn't it? So
it does. Yeah.
finally, the presentation is ready, and I will be sharing my screen with you.
Yes.
Yes. Let me see, Aruni. Can you see this?
Correct. I can see that.
Okay. So I'm going to go
Yeah.
into slideshow.
Yeah.
And all right. Okay. Let me know how to
So,
do it.
yeah. This is it okay if I go through the presentation now?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
So this is what you think. This is what you think you are. You are performing, you are just singing, you are dancing, you show off yourself to your world in this picture. But I would go to the next slide to show off how you really do this thing. You have a team. You have a wonderful team who will initiate and help throughout to perform and to help your performance well and to help your performance to be the best maybe. So you have to always think, always there's a set of wonderful people, maybe wonderful friends who are surrounded by you, who helps to be your presentation best. So your gut microbiome are like this, and all the other microbial systems are like this. So I would refer to each and every of these performers as different ecosystem in our different departments of our ecosystem. So I would say, let's say one person is a respiratory system, one is a gut, one is something else, maybe skin. So all your body parts are having lots and lots of microbes living in them. And they each are helping to keep that particular department healthy and kind of well functioning. So if you think it in that way, so you will be thinking 1,000 times before you take your next pill of antibiotics. Whenever you get this little bit of cough or cold, you just run and you swallow your antibiotic tablet, which will kill your fellows. And finally, just because you had a little symptom, you are doing such a bad treat and you are being unkind to your protector. So it's like a consistent communication whenever you are just communicating and uh, handling things in this environment. You are in a consistent exchange of your microbes with the others. So if you maybe, let's say that you are serving a cup of tea to your friend, so you serve a part of your microbiome to your friend and receiving her or his microbiome in that communication. So this is a very kind of dynamic ecosystem. It is not very static where you can say, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 this. So it is consistently changing, very dynamic ecosystem where you do giving and taking and keeping your overall microbe in a balance. As far as it is in a balance, you are healthy. So shall we go to the other slide?
Sure.
So this is a little bit of theory. I don't know whether you are interested in this. If you just
Very
come across with these
Very
different words, microbiota is cells and microbiome is your DNA. So microbial DNA is the kind of little transcripts where the functional details are written. So just for you to understand the literature, yes. Okay, so it's like, as I said earlier, there are number of fellows in your department, different types. So bacteria, fungi, virus, and so many other names. So you don't have to really go and just understand what are these little names and all. You just have to know there are several different fellows. If you really want to have the little more detail, I think it's in the other slide. Just pass it. So this orange slide says that we are not our own. We are really half of that, maybe less, because we have similar or more bacterial cells living with us whose microbial genes are controlling us more than our genes. So in that scenario, you don't have to blame your kind of, if you are a kind of person who's getting diabetes due to just because your parents had it, you don't have to blame them, because that's not only coming through your genes, it is your environment. Your environment and your bacterial genome always changes, and the results are dependent on your epigenome. So this microbial environment and the environment you live, the external environment is more dependent on what you do and what you get. So, I mean, you have to understand you can always change genes if you have healthy microbial environment and healthy external environment. So we can understand that through this. So, I mean, this is what I said. You can't feed them with this, so they will be unhappy. So you have to go and feed with the other slide, this one, so which they would digest, because they have to have fiber for them to work upon and generate short chain fatty acid, which is really the chemical, and for their food. This is their food, which is the short chain fatty acid. Apart from being the food for the microbiome, postbiotics, I mean short chain fatty acid, has lots and lots of other benefits for the human body. You know, this, when you eat this, you just, the fruits and vegetables are acted by bacteria, which is probiotic, gut bacteria. They will produce postbiotics, which is short chain fatty acids. So short chain fatty acids is part of that. So they just do that to live upon. So microbes are living off short chain fatty acids. So they utilize that short chain fatty acid for their living. Plus, the short chain fatty acid generation is important for our other bodily functions. So if the bacteria is not there, you will not get this short chain fatty acid production. So which by that you lose the benefits of them. So this is a little technical slide which shows off the names of short chain fatty acids. So the main three that you are really well aware are the main short chain fatty acids, and C5, C6 are also short chain, and those are less abundant. So the normal tight junctions we have. So this is our normal gut. If I just show off our normal gut, it has tight junction, column epithelial cells, and the little tube running down is the gut. Yes, it is the kind of vascular vessel. So I think is that so? One second. Yes, this is the absorptive area, the bottom part. So the up part is the gut. So if you really don't maintain your gut cells and the microbiome, so these gut cells will degenerate. If the gut cells degenerate, they will damage and create little spaces like this, where your gut lumen will communicate through the bottom part. So I mean vascular compartment. So what will happen? The oxygen would leak into the gut lumen, where the anaerobic environment within the gut will be destroyed. So destruction of this anaerobic environment within the gut would create damage of the anaerobic bacteria and subsequent multiplication of the facultative anaerobic bacteria, which is really not really good, what we would call the bad kind of bacteria. So if you don't provide enough fiber, this hazard happen and your gut will damage like this. So your friendly bacterial growth will go down, and your facultative anaerobes and the more oxygen resistant bacteria would grow. So that means it's really creating a bad environment and leaky gut and so many other devastating results. Okay, so this is much more elaborative. Oh, we should have just spoken upon this. This says everything. So this is your good gut. This is the middle part is what's happening in the dysbiosis. So the dysbiosis for a long time leads to inflammation. Inflammation is not kind of restricted to one part. It is a creation of lot of inflammatory markers, interleukins, tumor necrosis factor, which will flow through your blood to everywhere, which will manifest as your joint pain, your headache, your mood instabilization, and your muscle pain and whatnot. So whenever you get your symptoms, which is not really maybe you don't understand, and you have to think about these things. Did I really eat well? What about my party food? What was the fun I had during my previous lunch? So where you had only kind of pasta or kind of biryani rice without any vegetable. So I mean, it has to really be balanced. When you eat a lot of fat and a lot of kind of processed food with a lot of oil and meat, fish products, so you are just ignoring your friends. So your friends are dying and your health is dying. So please go to the other slide, please. Okay, this is what I was talking about, how this neural pathways, hormonal pathways, immunological pathways, and how everything talk to each other, which is starting from the gut and resulting your health destiny. I would say it's health destiny because it has no other means. If you really want to be healthy, you can't just ignore your plate. You have to really plan your plate. You have to have time to adjust your plate. If you are really busy with other stuff, okay, then I can't help you. So, shall we go down? Okay. So that's that same technical busy slide. Just have all the theory, what I said. So I'm not reading slides because I don't want you to be very, very kind of educationally filled. Just have this idea, which is a very sensitive idea, which is to be kind to your friends, to be kind to you. So this is the fiber. So can I? Yes. Yes. This is the fiber. I was just asking you to have fiber, fiber, fiber. So what is this fiber? So we have different types of fiber where you have insoluble and soluble fiber in different types of food. Most of the time, if you eat vegetables and kind of fruits, you get the both fibers. You don't have to really read the lists, and you don't have to just make sure that you are making your boxes tick. You just have to eat a rainbow to in a kind of satisfactory quantity every day, because if you are hungry every day, your friends are also hungry every day. So you should feed them every day. So the just to jump into the deep meaning of each of these fiber types, you have insoluble and soluble fiber, which is a different, functionally different. So insoluble fiber is very, very rough edge, and very coarse fiber, which is exerting the broom effect in you, which really does what a broom does. What a broom does is it just sweeps the floor. So this insoluble fiber is doing sweeping your gut from esophagus to your anus. So just think, it's wonderful. If you don't clean your floor, if you don't sweep your floor for a while, what will happen? There will be garbage here and there. So it's not a good environment. So this broom effect of the insoluble fiber with that rough fibers, when it goes down from your mouth to anus, it just carry like a broom does. It just sweep through your gut. So the soluble fiber, what it does is when you eat soluble fiber, it swells up and it holds water within them, and it works as a sponge. So when a sponge goes down from your mouth to anus, it absorbs sugar, cholesterol, whatever the toxins, and it just keeps whatever the bad stuff within that sponge, and it takes and expels that. Most of the time, the most health benefits are affected and health effects are exerted through the soluble fibers, but you have to have little bit of insoluble as well. So you don't have to just measure these, because when you eat all the food, they have both fibers in certain quantities. Okay, shall we go to the next? All right. So now we are worried. So we want to know how much fiber we should eat, because we are people who likes numbers. We always want someone to tell us numbers. How old are you? How much uh, weight should really be there? Tell me the number of cup of rice I should eat. So we are really happy if someone tells us the numbers. So these are the numbers. If you are really worried with your age ranges, which is recommended by the dietary guidelines for Americans, and we have different, which is very similar to our requirement as well. So, but to be a practical person, you really don't have to be number friendly. You don't have to count your fingers always to enjoy your food. So I would ask you to eat a rainbow. Why don't you eat a rainbow and just achieve all what you need? It's so wonderful. Okay. Yes. So since we are always very quantity oriented, these next few slides are for you to understand how much really will contain when you really target your fiber requirement. So that's why these things were included. Unfortunately, it's our kind of responsibility that our local fruits are not included here because we don't have much or many research findings and analytic findings, so that we can think about this. Banana are very good fiber source, and in our setting, avocado and so many other fruits that we do freely have are always good. Okay. So the vegetables are in the higher run that has so many impacts. You don't have to go through this list, but all the vegetables that you have in your local market is quite good and quite fresh. So we are a blessed country. We are a blessed country. We do have vegetables. I know it's a real kind of expensive and it's costly, but with our weather and every day we have sun, so we need to focus on little home gardening where we can have good consistent fiber intake for us. Okay, so the next few slides contain the same things to define the quantity for you. You can just run down. Yes. Next slide, please. And the next. Okay, people are worried about bloating. So they think if they get a little bit of full tummy, it is due to the kind of beans you had, the cowpea, kadala, and mungata you had. So it is really not. So we have kind of wrong myths, which makes us keep away from the fibers that we eat, and which makes us kind of not really be favorable in taking fiber. But these are the little tips that you can follow if you really want to, if you really think that bloating is due to fiber. You can have a little more fluid, you can reduce your fiber food and increase it gradually rather than just taking a large plate of fruits and vegetables at the same time. And the next is to cook them. When you cook them, your fiber is easy to be broken down by bacteria. So rather than eating raw vegetables, you can just go to a cooked vegetable consumption at the beginning if you are getting this uncomfortable bloating associated to the fiber. So if you exercise and do relaxation techniques, the immense benefit you get other than your massive health function increment, you get your bloating also goes down. So exercise and relaxation technique, I really have no way to quantify the value. So if you are a doctor or a person who is yet to get into this wonderful habit, so I welcome you as a lifestyle physician and a kind of person who really see the value of it. Next one. This is the gut-brain crosstalk as we just initiated earlier this discussion. So these are the different pathways that they think into, and if you really think it is a bidirectional communication between gut and your brain. So they are always talking to each other, even though you don't know. They are wonderful friends and they just share their pains and they just share their kind of insufficiencies. Oh, my dear, she didn't eat vegetables today. What shall I do? I'm not capable enough to provide a good mood. Okay, the brain say, oh, can't do anything, what shall we do? Like, they're always just talking to each other neurally, hormonally, and through these little metabolites, which is secreted by microbes. So this wonderful ecosystem, you think that who you are is created with this wonderful symphony. So I really want you to have a different perspective about the bacteria and viruses. Just have a little different look at them, as we can't live with them without them, and we have to look after them for our benefit, not for their benefit, just for our benefit, because more concerned you are about your gut microbiome, you will be a better person. uh, there are enough research coming up that even the slightest change of your gut, slightest change of your habits, sleeping habit, eating habit, exercising habit, would create a big difference in your gut microbiome. They have seen. So the people who are traveling from timelines, like they go through jet lag, has changed their microbiome from within few hours, because if they don't sleep well, they have different microbiome compositions within few hours. So this hourly difference of microbiome would create large problems and large breakdowns in your ecosystem. So it's something that you should think, if you're not, to start think about this ecosystem and to look at in a different perspective.
Wow. Oh, that's food for thought. That's a lot to think about. And yeah, I liked, and also got a little scared by your use of the term health destiny.
It is health destiny, I would say. And I'm a person, in fact, every meal I take, everything I take into my hand, I think whether I am doing a justice for my fellows. I don't eat whatever I get. If I just eat a kind of cookie or just the whatever this you say bad something, my next step would be treating my fellows, because we should have that balance, we should have that empathy, and we should have that lifestyle knowledge to live and to spread to the world, because unless you really feel it, you will never do it. You have to understand this concept and practice this concept and be healthy, because it's so expensive to be ill. It's very cheap to be healthy. It's not as expensive as your vegetables. If you are ill, it's too expensive for you to afford your medications, procedures, stress. Yeah, I believe so.
Hey, wow. I have a lot of follow-up questions, but I'm going to first open up the floor to our wonderful members here today. Anything you would like to ask from Arani regarding the gut microbiome and the health implications?
Hi,
Hi,
Lumpini.
Arani.
Hi. I was wondering whether she could tell us a bit about SIBO. Is there anything called a SIBO? SIBO, small
Yeah,
intestinal bacterial overgrowth?
correct. So, SIBO means small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So that means, as I told you earlier, we have a kind of very well set up ecosystem where you know where you should live, where you anaerobics know where they should live. And most of these microbes are living in the colon beyond our ileocecal junction. So what will happen if you have any kind of issues with your ileocecal junction? The colonic bacteria would pass this ileocecal valve and they comes to the small intestine and they start living over there. So, I mean, it's not the really due place for them because small intestine is meant to absorb food. We have the upper part of the small intestine to digest food, and that and rest of the small intestine to absorb food. If the gut microbiome starts coming and living over the small intestine, it's not really the due place. So what will happen is this bloating is high, so many kind of uncomfortable gastrointestinal symptoms would happen. So that is what small intestinal overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, which happens due to the ileocecal valve problems, and maybe that can be also maybe due to diverticulitis or any other thing that makes our this balance of the microbial numbers imbalance. So they will do whatever they like and they will just have different functions and harmful effects to see. So did I answer your question?
Yes,
And
yes.
all
Thank
right.
you. So,
Okay.
can I just ask? So, is there a way of finding out whether we have SIBO, like a test, like for H. pylori? I
Yeah,
think
correct. It's the hydrogen breath test if you are
Mm.
really concerned about. So yeah, you can just, if you do this hydrogen breath test, it is the test to find it. If you have symptoms, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
All right. Any questions? Any more questions for Arani? Okay, if you have questions, just raise your hand and we'll circle back. So, Arani, I like to think that I eat a lot of vegetables in my diet, but sometimes I tend to eat the same kind of plant-based meals throughout the week. So, is there a difference? Like, you hear things like we need to incorporate 30 different plants per week. So, is there a difference when we feed the gut a variety, or is it okay to feed it the same vegetables?
Yeah, correct. What you said was really correct. That has a meaning. But I would say that we have to eat 30 different plants, which comes with the literature, the number. But I'm pretty sure the Sri Lankans would eat more with a country where you have so many of types of pala and even any kind of leaves that you find everywhere is eatable. So I believe that you are beyond 30. So that's little out of the topic. So what is important is eating a rainbow, because what bacteria needs is a type of fiber for them to work upon and produce short chain fatty acid for their living. But I believe any kind of fruits and vegetables would be sufficient for that. But beyond that microbial requirement, we need other elements which comes in fruits and vegetables, vitamins and other minerals and lot of phytonutrients. So for that particular requirement, you have to eat different types of fruits and vegetables, but not just for the concerns of bacteria. Just to provide bacteria, maybe it will be fine if you eat the same stuff the same day, but we do recommend a rainbow because of many other benefits we would look into.
Okay. Well, I also think, somebody might think, okay, it's very cumbersome to eat so many fruits and veggies. Why don't I just take a probiotic instead? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a different step which you really push into a different question because, it is something that you get a grade from the synthetic world where you never know how that has been prepared all the time. I mean, maybe you may be getting the kind of name A probiotic once, but the same probiotic, when you take it in the next month, you never know it is the same composition, same chemical, because it's a different product. So, but the nature gives you the best. Nature gives you the best composition. So I don't believe that you will get what you need as the nature provides you, because it just give us little packages which has adequate soluble fiber, insoluble fiber, vitamin A, C, D, packed in simple little food. You never find something which only has vitamin C. You never find something which only have vitamin B. But it comes with the little packages where you have lot of benefits. Something maybe buy one, get one free. So it's not like you go to a kind of synthetic pill where you only get that particular thing, but you really don't know what is in it. So you are risking yourself and making your mind happy, but we really don't know what's happening around. So as lifestyle physicians, we don't recommend that. We always we recommend the food come from the nature, directly from what God made for us. So directly from the farm, directly from the kind of vegetable stall. If the man has done something in between, we would really should raise the question. Is it good? Is it fine for me? Is it really healthy? So without answering that list of questions, I think you should go with the nature.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So many things to think about before you, start eating various types of food. Any questions for Aruni? Okay, we still have a few minutes. We'll hang around for about 4 or 5 minutes more. If you have any questions, please put your hand. And in the meantime, I'm going to continue asking Aruni because I want to absorb as much as her wonderful knowledge and expertise as possible. So Aruni, what do you think about now? You asked us not to harm our little fellows. So what about artificial sugars? What is the role artificial sugars have to play in gut microbiome?
That really is a toxin for them. So that really is, I would say, it is a toxin for your gut microbiome. So bottom line, we can't recommend them unless it is really coming from the natural thing as stevia, where you pick the stevia leaf from the stevia plant and have it as direct. I can't believe anything that just come in a packeted stevia. So likewise, lot of so many synthesized synthetic sugar sweetness has shown to be very toxic to the gut microbiome.
All right. Okay, well, one final question from me. You see in all over social media these days, people eating unhealthily as the norm, and then suddenly people do various, diets and detoxes, maybe like a juice cleanse, maybe just eating only fruits for one day, and the rest of the days they eat quite poorly. So what kind of effect does this have on the microbiome? Does it, like, people might think that, okay, so I do this and it will make everything okay, but what's the truth?
Yes, something is better than nothing. So I would welcome all their kind of efforts and all the little tries to be healthy. So, and the changes doesn't happen overnight. Changes need time. But at the same time, there are wonderful people, courageous people who has done the changes overnight and has achieved these benefits overnight. So therefore, the answer for that question is there's no time to start, no time to stop. It is now. You have to start now without even wasting the next second for your health. What you should do is you should really start whenever possible, wherever possible. If you are really hungry and you have nothing to eat, I don't ask you to not to eat the burger, but I'm so sorry that you should stop and you should be kind of waiting to stop that habit whenever possible, because you should get this knowledge and understand that you are waiting to come to the correct path, because our microbiome responds in hours. It is only few minutes, hours, it's sufficient for them to adjust, not fully, but I mean, they have shown that their behavioral compositions have shown differences within few hours. Maybe the people who are traveling, that researchers have shown that it doesn't need long time. I mean, there are researchers that people who have eaten certain period of fish and meat only diet, when they change into the plant diet, they just got better and they just got the health benefits. So therefore, there's no time to stop and no time to start. It is always your will and courage and your circumstances that made you to do so. The knowledge should always be functional, and whatever you eat, you should always be selected intelligently.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. We can take a couple of questions. We have about 1 minute to go before we wrap things up. Anybody wants to ask a question from Dr. Aruni, please go ahead.
Yeah, just hi, Aruni.
Hi.
Just a
Hi,
quick
Murthy.
question.
No problem.
When would you prescribe prebiotics for a patient?
That particular word, do you mean the prebiotic medication or prebiotic food? Because
Medication.
prebiotic is, okay. So it is really a clinical question. If the person really can't take any food or for any different clinical reasons, I would prescribe. But I mean, you say that, let's say that the person is on parenteral feeding where he or she never takes anything through mouth. So people like that has to forget about just taking care of their microbiome, because that kind of people, you give little trophic feeds, little bit of feeds to keep their microbiome live. That kind of people, if possible, I mean, not really clinically bad people, but when they are becoming stable and when the oral intake is really poor, you can try out. But unless otherwise, always the prebiotic medications are not really welcome. It should be clinically determined because the circumstances are different. Because you can always try out the prebiotic food like curd, kefir, and sauerkraut, deer bath from Sri Lanka, and so many fermented food. What you have to understand is the yogurt, which is the popular and well-known food as a probiotic, is a questionable probiotic because sometimes they use different methods to produce yogurt, like they add gelatin and different processing methods, and they just subject it to different chemicals, so which you will not have probiotics there. But instead of all those, if the person really can't take oral probiotics, you can provide this thing. It's clinically indicated. You can't just say 1, 2, 3, 4 events for that. It's clinically indicated and clinically decided.
Thank you.
All right. All right, guys. So I'm getting ready to wrap up the session. Thank you so much, Aruni, for joining us today early in the morning and for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us as always. So guys, this brings us to the end. And if I just summarize what Aruni is telling us, it is to take care of our microbiome, look at the microbiome in a different way, in a whole new way, with a whole fresh perspective as our little fellows who are there to help us. So we must also help them back and not harm them. And always remember that every bite we take of whatever food that we eat contributes to our health destiny. All right, so we'll sign off and we'll see you guys in the next episode 2 weeks from now. Thank you so much. Have a great day.